So somehow I landed here with all these crazy characters on this Friday evening in Stockton, California. A couple of years ago, we started something called the Real Black Friday, which took place the day after Thanksgiving. And we gathered, individuals in the community who were black and who... and with the sole purpose of empowering, our black community and individuals in our community. So this year, I know everybody knows 2018 was off the chain. So there was no way that I was going to try to pull y'all or a whole bunch of people together the day after Thanksgiving, after the tragic 2018 year that we had. And so I decided to do something different and to bring it to Sweet Tays, which is a very special place, a vision of my husband DeMarco, named after me, the sweetest Tay on earth. And so, so we're just gonna get it cracking. So the way that this goes is we're gonna have a conversation, and these characters, as I like to call them, are gonna jump right in. But we're gonna start out with a small little exercise. I don't know y'all from the hood, so y'all know about rolling dice, right?
Okay, yeah.
You ain't never seen no dice this big.
Tyler says hanging on the...
So since Cousin Pip is doing all the talking, I'm gonna just roll it in his direction first. And whatever it lands on, I might do it on purpose.
Oh, that ain't rolling.
I want you
That's kind of rolling.
I want you to share when you see that word, what do you think of and how do you feel?
So this one at top. So I see prey right here. So which one? We going with this one? Let's see. What do I think when I see that word?
So the interesting thing is, do you interpret it as live or live?
I would say live, just based on the conversation.
That's that good answer.
You know what I'm saying? Really, when I see that word, it brings to me being grateful. And the reason why is because the lifestyle that I lived for so many years, I gambled with my life daily. And to make it to see this age when I had so many people counting me out, it's a blessing to see that word and be like, man, I can relate to it because I'm still alive. And I can't even count how many homies that I grew up with that are not here. So to see that word is grateful. It comes to me.
Nice. Thank you. I like it. Slide it on back. Matter of fact, you can slide it, roll it, twirl it into the direction of the next person who you think should breathe on the mic.
I can't shake them. Okay. You talked me into it.
Believe. Believe. That's interesting. The word that sticks out in the word is like a double for me is to be. A lot of things that I've been fortunate to see right now coming out, being out here 4 months, is what I had to be in my mind, the concepts, the perspective, the philosophy that I had to gain. The leave part, or similar to the word that Brother Pip just had, the live part, you got to be before you can live. So right now, I'm involved in intentional activism. My intent to carry out day to day to try to restore some humanity. I'm still teaching myself. See, that's one thing where people see the suit, the clean shaven look, having a job, having a career, and that's all great, and I'm always giving praises due, but I'm still in the process of practicing, learning, and teaching. So to believe is the process of, before I take a step, I have to believe that I can do it. So then when I do it and everyone is applauding the results or giving me feedback from the result, then that gives me permission to believe that I can take another step. So that's what the word means to me, just a step-by-step process of being first and then living and then believing. So trying to combine both of them.
Nice, nice. Okay, slide.
Oh, you don't want me to
slide.
Listen, you better understand it.
We had a little blooper. What would it be like without a blooper, right? It wouldn't. It's or these conversations and situations will always be organic and authentic. And so when Brad rolled the dice, and things went popping, that was organic. But it led us into another conversation. We just dove right in. So, but I'll pause on that.
We could talk about it.
I wanted to go to the two trending topics right now. We ain't gonna spend too much time on this because it's just for fun. Whenever we do the trending topics, we don't spend, because this the master MC too. So one thing, R. Kelly.
I'm a fan, so.
So I will say this, and then I will start on this end that time. And you can always pass. If you don't got nothing to say, you can just be like, you know what I mean? For me, I love R. Kelly's music.
I second that motion.
I don't know much. Honestly, I don't know much about what is going on with him.
Take the
and
mic.
I take the mic. Okay. I don't know much about what's going on. I know that there's a 3-part series coming out in regards to his life, and I believe the ex-wife is behind this production. And as much as I would like to agree with some of the things that he is not doing well in spite of who he is and what he's put forth, on the flip side of that, I also think that if I was one of those women, why was I there in the first place, knowing who he is? Because he hasn't changed. He didn't paint a picture that wasn't already painted, even when he was dating Aaliyah. When we were young, it was present. So for me, we had this conversation earlier, and one young lady said, if in fact these young women had an issue, then they would have never stayed as long as they stayed. There was a gain in there. They thought R. Kelly was going to wife them. They thought R. Kelly was going to do this, that, or the other. And when it didn't fall into place that way, then it becomes accusational. And so I was like, well, we're not, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't followed him. So I have really no standing viable thing to say in regards to that, because I don't know. I am going to watch his 3-part series to kind of see what's going on and just to kind of give me some headway in regards to it. But for the most part, I like his music too, and I was just jamming it on my way here. Love Letter. Yes.
I can't really speak on what's going on because I haven't really been watching it or following it, but his song, When a Woman's Fed Up, has gotten me through a lot of heartache and pain.
Before I slide it to the left, I will say I love R. Kelly's music, but I mean, we've seen the video. Many of us seen it, and I think that in our communities of color, a lot of times we protect. For some reason, we protect individuals who harm us. We do that a lot. It goes back
protect
to
our predators.
There you go. It goes back to that conversation and dialogue about snitching versus breaking the silence, because I'm all about breaking the silence, and the narrative shift around that. And I don't know, like if you one time, okay, 2-time accusation, but it's too much. It's always ongoing, so it has to make you question the validity of what is going on. I love R. Kelly's music. It's a part of, me and DeMarco always talk about the soundtrack of our childhood or of our life, and R. Kelly was always playing in the background. Some of these kids was probably made to R. Kelly, to be, very honest. But I do think that as leaders and as individuals who have positioned ourselves to be able to speak truth, which is what we're moving towards in 2019, we have to stop and start not be afraid to challenge and question the narrative of that. Come on now, we seen the video, and we also know that you married somebody that was 15 years old and you were well over the age of 20. That's like hella inappropriate. You know what I mean? And so it's a sticky situation, and you'll always hear people say, we have an intense conversation about this the other day about victim blaming. It's a bad habit that we have. I have 6 daughters. 4 that I gave birth to, well 7 because I have one in heaven, and then 2 that I inherited in marriage. And it's always an ongoing conversation about the way that they carry themselves and how they should conduct themselves in the presence of grown men as young girls. And then I remember one, she challenged me and said, well, if I don't wear half tops, but if I wanted to, I should be able to without feeling like somebody's gonna approach me or that I'm being inappropriate. And I'm like, yeah, but wisdom, what you see, I mean, your perception of things is gonna always, tap at your brain. So you do need to be mindful of what you're putting out based on how you dress or how you carry yourself. But I always find it interesting that when we're talking about Me Too movement, R. Kelly, or anything like that, we always challenge the person that is the accuser's motive versus really taking time to dismantle or dissect the reality that crazy stuff might really be going on. So, I know you got a lot. Right.
I am not a judge nor a jury, and no, I don't know the specifics of the situation. However, I was in Chicago in March of this year, and I was in specific areas in Chicago with specific people who are from Chicago and have been around Chicago and say, y'all just now figuring that out? That ain't no secret. He's always been like that. And a lot of the time, the girl's parents will allow them to be there because of who he was. And so now, for whatever reason, he ain't paying parents. Now parents is coming out trying to get kids, and these are from their natives there. So we have our local celebrities here that only we know things about. So to hear that from their perspective, it kind of gave light. Does that take away from the fact of that very well can be true, but as far as the individuals enduring it, what is their truth? What is their experience? Where are they at within them? Did it violate them? Did it trigger them? What did that experience do to them? It's not what we're accusing, it's what did I experience? And you can't tell me what I experienced because I'm the one that has to do the work, to heal. And as someone who has grown up and dealt with sexual abuse in my childhood and then recently re-traumatized, having to deal with the fact of that probably this experience that I experienced here recently probably wouldn't have affected me as hard and as heavy and as hefty as it did had I not already been trying to and working towards the healing from my childhood. So it's really contingent on the experience of which the women who are in the situation are experiencing it and what their truth is, and that must be respected without persecution. Yeah. And then he must be acknowledged and understood too. And I will even go as daringly to say from a place of love and not judgment and persecution. Because at the end of the day, someone who is perpetrating still needs healing. What happened to you? And if we get to the truth of sexual violence and predatory issues within the Black community, we know that comes from 300 years of slavery. And we want to really get to the truth of the situation, then we need to go all the way to the truth of the situation and stop looking at trying to put you back into the same system that created the problem, i.e. the judicial system in the first place. The judicial system today is no more than slavery and the masters back in the day. So we have to be very thorough and honest when we're talking about the situation, which does take a lot of the heaviness off of the person and starts putting it on the communal aspect. That's my perspective.
That's true. Now, it's interesting you bring that up from that component, because I was going to bring up from just the Willie Lynch aspect, but I would like to step back because, like the sister said, I haven't followed R. Kelly. I haven't followed the situation, so I would be perpetrating to try to be informed or pretend to be informed. I ain't listened to R. Kelly probably in like 8 years. Haven't followed him, none of that. Since the first accusation with the pissing incident, being in prison, that's a no-no. So you was cut off the top. We wasn't listening to your music. We wasn't doing none of that. But what I would like to at least offer maybe as a challenge is, what does this situation say about us as a community? Where once the situation gets in the media, now it's, we can throw all this shit on him because we don't want our culture to be looked into. So for me, that's more important, because that's where we get to answering and massaging those questions that why come from both aspects. Why does it take the victim to try to get it into the media just to be heard? Why wasn't there someone in her family? Why wasn't there someone in her community? And like the sister said, R. Kelly, behavior is an outcry for help. So he's had this, for lack of a better word, predatory behavior going on over 20 years.
Yeah.
Like I said, Aaliyah thing, that wasn't creepy. That was against the law. That was like even in some backroots, like down south script.
Yeah.
Grown man married a child with seemingly their parents' blessings. But as a culture, we didn't condone it then because what we did, the mother and the father gave permission. Nah, man, we need to get to a place where if we're going to stand up as a culture because we have a invested interest in it, then we say, nah, it's wrong. I don't care if the parents gave permission or not. Wrong is wrong.
Right.
It's not celebrity wrong. It's not for status quo wrong. It's not, parents can give permission to basically go against what we know is right. So a lot of times we sit back and we don't come to the table on these issues until the media narrates the story. And then we disagree on how they narrate the story because, hey, man, they're narrating our culture. There's some implicit bias in there. There's some misnomers in there. And then we get all
Riled up.
to think that we have a right to speak. No, we have a right to speak when it's organic. Like you say, the people in Chicago been new. Like that's some every day, but they conditioned themselves to be like, oh, well, that's a status we can't touch. So now it's like for me, how do we get to a place, it's like a culture where we feel open to question it and even do more than question. Like it has to be a movement like drawn from it, where it's like, hey man, that's like, no, we're not supporting that. So how do we collectively rather be, we tried to boycott or stop buying the CDs, but even when we do that, that's an aspect against R. Kelly, so that's action taken there. What about the sisters that's coming? How do they heal? How do we show support? Because a lot of times, let's be clear, boycotting R. Kelly or attacking him doesn't show support for the victim. So we have to be very mindful of that balance.
I would like to just state to the media, it is their job to send out the wrong signals. It is their job to lead us in the direction that leads leads away from truth. And it's not a doubt that in my mind, even just listening, that he did do it. It's not a doubt in my mind that these things are taking place, but I don't know the truth. He knows the truth. Those parents who allowed it, if they were and again, I don't know if they were underage young ladies at the time of committing them to him or whatever the case may be. It's not okay that the parents accepted monetary givings on behalf of their children. You know what I'm saying? And as women, you're right, we do heal. Definitely a woman of abuse in my childhood. But in that, there had to be healing. And it was my time for healing. And nobody can't tell me what I experienced. No one can't tell me how I felt. No one cannot even speak against the people that did it. Because that's my truth. Yeah, it's wrong. Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's my truth that this is what took place for me. This is what they did. And they're sick at the end of the day. Yes, it goes way back to slavery. I thought about something you said. Then I remember reading that back in the day, they would hood the sons and the mothers. And they would make the mothers their sons. And that's where the word mother Ucker came from. You know what I mean? And so in these breeding camps, this is what they did to us. So there's always an overlook because the men at that time were demoralized and couldn't help. So, I think, when we think about the communal aspect of it all, we don't know. And when we are ignorant, which is why they call us niggas, right, or niggers, when we are ignorant to the fact of the things that happen within our own community and we try to hide, these are the things that take place. And then the misnomers in the media come forth and we're with them, and we don't seek truth further than that. So, my biggest thing with that is that the media builds and they break. And they hide and they put in. And all of that could be absolutely true in statement, right? But on the flip side of that, we have to be wise and discerning in that. And if we're not discerning, we're fed the same lies. And then we're against R. Kelly, who also too needs to heal and be surrounded, just like the victims, without a doubt, need to be surrounded, so. But anyway.
It's doing it justice.
Yes. It's ending. Sorry,
Well,
man.
no, you good. R. Kelly did it.
At this
But
point,
yeah, at this point, now to be honest, when it comes to R. Kelly, I am a big fan. Not really following him now for the most part. But I think, with this stuff, like I don't really, I don't know, I can't say if it's true or not. I wasn't there. I don't know the situation. I do know, even from personal experience, that some parents do shicey things. I remember having a homegirl in the hood that parents prostituted her for getting high. So if you see a millionaire over there that has a weakness or a sickness, which I think he has, I think he's mentally sick. And I think that his sickness comes from something that happened to him that, he doesn't know how to control. And I also believe in our community, in our culture, that's an issue that we don't talk about. We always talk about female victims with sex, what it does to them, how it affects them, how it sends them down wrong, paths in life and judgment. But we overlook the men. Like, for me, and there was a few other homies, I remember growing up out east, we was like 12, 13, and our first experiences with a girl that was 20 that had a son already. So mentally, what that does to us is put us on a way of thinking that we're not ready to think or handle. And a lot of men grow up with that mentality or that mindset of women are just sexual objects, because that's what my first experience as a woman with a woman was. It was just a lust thing, and it turned me on to something that girls my age wasn't ready for. So I think a lot of times as men, we also are pushed into it. As a young man, it's bad to be, you're a virgin, you're 14, and half the cat's lying.
Yeah.
But the image that we feed into, and we don't really deal with the damage mentally that it does to be exposed that young. With R. Kelly, his song where he kind of put it out there, like, yeah, I was molested by my auntie all these young years. We don't know, like, mentally what that did to him.
That's true.
It's just like you see girls that have been raped grow up and just be loose with it. When we look at it like, well, if you was raped, it's like you would fall back.
Right.
But it opened up a door that they don't know how to shut. And I think that is, like I said, it's something that needs to be discussed from the male perspective also. Because I know it's a lot of men, if they look back at their first experience, they were too young to be having it, mentally wasn't ready. And it led them down a road to treat women a certain way because they're still dealing with an issue or a door that was open at an age that they wasn't controlling. Now they're trying to deal with it, but really don't know how. And the help is never offered to them.
And let us not forget about the young men who are abused by men and
Yeah.
how that affects them as well. And that is a strongly unspoken about. That is a strongly unspoken about situation in our community that needs to be discussed on a very high level, because we would be very surprised to know just how many men were abused by men. In the families, as neighbors, as friends, and then how that manifests itself into the down low lifestyle for many married men today.
When you look at it, I mean, just imagine the mental pain a child would go through sitting at the dinner table with his molester. Where every day I got to wake up, I love you, and you the one that's abusing me. As a kid, period, that's going to be it's going to be destructive. As a young man, it's happening too. It's really going to be bad.
Right.
Because you're going to get in an age now. You're going to question yourself. Why me? What happened? Am I a man? I don't feel like. You know what I'm saying? You're going to automatically downplay yourself because you were taken advantage of as a man to the utmost. You could be disrespected.
Or it causes you to switch. When we think about young men, maybe not us because, I don't know. I don't know. I'm assuming. But with men, I think about how it causes you, because none of us understand what sex is. Right? And my thing, not only is it swept under the rug, but men begin to, when you spoke about down low, it takes a turn of question. Why did I like it? That's my first experience, right? Or I like it, but I'm not supposed to like it. I'm not gay, and it creates anger, and then even though that's not what you are, it's there, the anger is there. And some of us don't quite acquiesce to the thought of the anger, but you'll go over here and treat this woman wrong, or you go over here and you sleeping with this woman just to prove something to yourself. And this goes on for years and years and years and years and years, and the abuse and years, and then all of a sudden, aha, What's wrong? Oh, this started way back when, and now you're all broken down, but you're so and you're trained into this lifestyle of being with this woman and being with this woman to prove to yourself that I'm a man. And I just think that when we think about it from that perspective, as well as sitting down with the abuser and trying to figure out why me, it's also, why do I like it? Why did I like it? Because sex is sex. The feeling is the feeling, period. Whether it's received from a man or it's received from a woman, it opens up Pandora's box within you, right? Which is why, Lord, today I'm going to the Bible. But I won't. But nonetheless, I just think that in all of that, we need to think about it from every aspect. And that's another aspect that men fight with. And they may not openly say it because you tough. I ain't gonna tell you that. You a man. I ain't gonna tell you my partner, but I still ain't gonna tell you that. You don't need, or we're demeaned as people. So if you shared with this brother and this brother like, you gay, and we're damaged, period. You know what I'm saying? We are so damaged, and it's hard for us to share out these types of things without you looking at me a certain way. I wasn't raped, but I was molested, not by one, not by two, but by several. And they were close. And my thing was I closed up. I didn't give it up. And I was just, I'm not, nope, I'm scared, nope, cover up. Kept my body, and I still do, keep covered. I covered myself. I would wear, and I had nice legs at the time, right, past tense. I'm old now, and got some fat on some thighs, but I was put together. And I remember questioning, why do you cover up? And I'm not saying I want to walk around and be like, what? But why do you cover when you're already covered? I would wear a dress, and I remember this in high school a lot. I would wrap a sweater around my waist. I didn't want any young man to look at me. No way, no how, no other than. See, I'm philandra. I am who I am, but don't look at me. I stayed covered, and I had to begin to question, why do you stay covered? That was my aha moment sitting at this table. Hello, somebody. Because I think about things like that. I think about people say, oh, you got a nice shape, and I'll be, girl, please. And I cover up. Things that are meant to be sexy, I'm making it tomboyish. Hello, somebody, right? So it's those types of thoughts that we don't think about. We don't think about why people are the way that they are. We just judge. People might look at you and be like, yeah, you tough, you ain't it. They don't know your story.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on here. And that's why I always reach and look beyond the person, because I'm going to get you to like me, because I'm likable. Hello, somebody. You know what I'm saying? So you could be tough all you want to, but I'm going to cause you to smile in my way. And so I do, though. But you have to look past that, because we don't know the story. I can write a book about my life. I'm sure you can. We all probably can. Excuse me. But even when I think about it, I'm just like, wow. As we're sitting here and we're talking about this and these things are opening up, those aha moments come in because R. Kelly's in that place. He's never been able to identify. He's never been able to heal. And I think about what you said. I didn't know, someone at this table said this, where he was raped or molested or whatever it was, repeatedly by his aunt, someone that he genuinely loved. And she caused confusion. She caused hurt. She caused him to be a perpetrator. And he didn't know why, but as you sat there and you said that, I said, that's why he messes with young people, young girls. She took his young livelihood. He didn't get to pick and choose who he wanted to take what he considered to be his virginity, or take what he considered. He didn't get to love the first young lady because it was already taken. So why is he doing that? That could be my thought. Besides him being sick, is that I'm reliving. Like, we can talk about Michael Jackson. And how Michael Jackson did these old crazy things, but it was because of something in his upbringing. Right. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think about stuff like that.
It says a lot. Even like what we go through as in our own childhood. I was even thinking about when you said you covered up. I wasn't molested as a child, but my mom taught me to cover up. So we always had to wear like long skirts and everything had to be covered, but I think a lot of it had to do with what she went through as a child to protect us. So everything has a domino effect. So, it didn't happen to me, but did it happen to my mom? Or did it happen, and is that why we were raised the way that we were? So that's how we have to look at the situation with R. Kelly. Like I didn't know that his aunt molested him. So that takes a lot out of a person. And then like Ashley said, that it's your experience. Like the women that are coming forward now, they're trying to get healing. They're trying to seek out a way to deal with what happened to them in a way that's healthy and productive for them to move forward. So it's their experience and it's their truth. So we have to learn as a community to be able to speak the truth within our community, and we're taught as a people to not talk about certain things. I was taught what's going on in his house stays in his house. So, but as an adult and dealing with my own healing, I know that that's not productive. That's not going to help me be able to speak my truth to get healed and to help someone else move forward and heal as well.
True. Real quick, if I may, I think something that Brother Pip said had touched me when he talked about the doors that we open. And I think one of the fundamental reasons is because we don't have a rites of passage that we culturally pass down. And what begins to happen is, if I'm not given a rites of passage, like I say, train up the child in the way he should grow, but when he is older, he or she shall not depart from that. If I'm not given that, then what happens is I experiment until I make up my own rites of passage. And then when I get to that aspect, we out east, little gangbangers going through, I'm experimenting. But I'm going to big homies like Pip, and I'm checking and seeing, like, okay, was that behavior cool? Am I getting praise? Am I getting positive reinforcement? And even sometimes, depending on what type of rites of passage he's trying to create, if we're not really meshing, then, okay, I'm going to go at it alone. So we're out here, we're supposed to be part of community, we're supposed to be part of household, but we feel individuated because we're not really giving guidelines to this thing. So whether it be sex, love, all this is experimentation. But of course, we can't call it that because we don't come to the table and we share our story. It's not like we're going out there experimenting, putting it on the table, chopping it up and seeing what we can keep, what we can take away from, and then moving out. Each individual is doing it. So we begin to clash when it's like, oh, that behavior is like, oh, you want some other, are you too loosey with it? Oh, you're not loose enough with it. So now it's no guideline. You're covered up. You're giving it up too loose. No, not you, probably, but I'm just saying. Right? But no, but and it's crazy, right?
She don't know which way she want to go.
But what each experience, it informs me differently. Even though I'm the one judging each one, each female, but it still informs me different because I'm still experimenting. I'm experimenting with, okay, why are you so loose? You're giving it up too much. Why are you not giving it up enough? This thing is an experiment, and right.
I like it.
And I'm taking this and I'm informing. So after I get a certain age, after I built up a certain assessment and a tolerance, now you can't tell me nothing. Now it's harder to listen. Now it's harder to kind of put my shit on the table and like open up and be like raw. Because I got it figured out now.